and welcome to a special coverage of the State of the Region address of the Governor of Kavango East, Hamunyera, Hambyuka. Now, the SORA provides an opportunity to reflect on the region's achievements, assess its challenges, and obviously to also outline clear priority areas for the year. This morning, I'm joined by Dr. Gavi Kaveh, Lecturer of Economics and Commerce at UNAM's Rundu campus, as well as Irvin Likoro, Regional Representative of the National Youth Council in Kavango East. So, gentlemen, let's get right into it. As we await the Governor's address, what are your expectations for today's speech?
Well, mine is very simple. First, I think it's a celebration. Celebrating the fact that we are having a democratic process in the process of accounting to our people across the country, and this is just one of the addresses like any other governors have done, and the expectation is that we will talk about the normal things, education, we'll talk about agriculture, we should talk about health, talk about, the traditional things, but also every region talks about their comparative advantage sort of issues. And so we'll talk about our fish, we'll talk about our crocodiles, we'll talk about our wooden craft issues, and many other added comparative issues that Kavango has.
All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Likoro?
Yes, my expectation from today is first and foremost, the young people would like to hear a clear and concise report of what has been achieved so far. In a sense that yes, we are celebrating the democratic process of accounting, but we also want to hear what has been done so far in the region, and then also a roadmap as to where are we heading as a region, and then what is in it for the young people. I'll dwell more on the young people because I'm sort of like a custodian for the young people. And also we would like to hear what mechanisms has been put in place to ensure that the region taps from its wealth. The young people are able to benefit and come up with initiatives that benefit the region and sort of a thing. So yeah, that is my expectation.
All right. Dr. Kaveh, from a research and development perspective, what three issues do you think the governor should definitely address?
I think there are quite a number, but from the top of my head, one issue that really stands out for me for the region is, look, we had good rains for the consecutive 2 years. And one issue that should really be addressed is not just merely agricultural production, but value addition on agricultural products, agro-processing. For me, should really come out. I expect it to be really hashed out, and so that people can begin to think of the mechanization of agriculture from the farmer's point of view, and create a supply chain from agriculture that actually sustains the economy. So that's one. The other one is to do with the issue of infrastructure, not only for farmers, farming region, but also for young people. As he's talking about young people, today we have a belief that billionaires and millionaires should come from the digital economy. But without connectivity, without infrastructure in terms of Wi-Fi connection, and it just becomes a pipe dream. So I expect the governor perhaps to touch on some of those issues as well for creation of jobs among young people. There are issues also basically now to do with, emanating from what's happening in South Africa, xenophobia and the violence there, in shifting of transportation corridors with the emphasis on Trans-Caprivi Highway now becoming a bloodline for Zambia and DRC, and so that has a bearing on our roads, potholes, etc. And so perhaps what can we do to strengthen not only road systems in the region, but thinking more strategically of alternative interventions such as locomotive train connection between Grootfontein, Katima, and to the border, so that we ease the burden on the roads, etc. And so there's quite a number of many issues that optimistically I'm looking forward to.
Right. Mr. Likoro, those areas that he just mentioned right now, does that align with the concerns of young people?
Yes, pretty much they do. He did mention agriculture, investment in agriculture. I think young people are looking forward to access to equitable funding, so that because Kavango East is known for their subsistence farming. But then, yes, we have fertile soil, we have good rain, but then we also need to look into the new modern farming methodologies, and also we need to find workable ways on how we can commercialize our farming, because currently we only farm for a homestead consumption. But then how can we tap from this wealth in ensuring that we are able to commercialize this farming and benefit our region, our people ultimately? I think these are some of the aspects we would be looking forward to as young people. And then, yes, we are living in the digital economy. He mentioned it, right? Ours is an area where, look, if you look at the world right now, you don't need full-time work for you to be rich or have money. There are also what we call content creators. Now, it's a new industry, it's a newly found industry, so we need to find ways on how we can provide opportunity for young people who are able to create educational content, and also how we can find how we can monetize these people in such a setup, YouTube, Instagram, whatnot, monetization, so that they're able to benefit from that, because not all of us actually were meant to make it through formal schooling. Some of us are just naturally gifted with comedy, for example. If you do online comedy, you make money, you're okay on your own. And then infrastructure development. He did mention of road, but also water. We have a serious water crisis in the region in terms of, yes, we do have access to clean water for drinking, but then this water keeps being interrupted every now and then. There's an issue with town council, there's an issue with WAD. And then if you go deep in the inlands, not only network, but also road infrastructures. What roads leads to the farms where we get the food that feeds the region? You understand? And then water. Do we have access to clean water in these inlands, for example? There are Namibian citizens also that are living in these towns, in these villages. There are also young people that are living in this, and also access to health care. If you go in Shamambungu, for example, you are sick and you have to walk 15 to 20 kilometers to access health care. How practical is that? These are some of the aspects we as young people would like to hear. And then last but not least, yes, I did mention agriculture. We would also want to hear what is perhaps the region's stance in skills development for the young people in their respective areas of expertise. I think that is basically some of the things we'll be looking forward to as young people in the region.
Mm-hmm. All right, obviously it's no secret that unemployment is a concern in Namibia, and obviously Kavango East is no exception. But then in terms of that now, what interventions would you want the governor in today's address, obviously, to come up with to maybe like stimulate a bit of economics within the region? What would you want him to see and focus on?
Okay. On that one, yes, unemployment is a serious concern in the region. Our region is no exception to that. One of the things that we would like to hear in the address is how can young people access funding for their entrepreneurial ambitions and businesses. So we need to hear that. We hear there's NYDF and other things, but how accessible is this, especially to youth in the rural communities? You get it. People in town here, yes, we have access because it's a governor's office right here and right now. But then people in the villages where there's no internet connection, for example, no electricity, how are they accessing this funding? So we need to hear something in that line also. And then investment in training and education. we also want to hear the roadmap as to how are we going to ensure that people with natural skills, how will we formalize these skills as to be able to capacitate them to commercialize their skills. There are people who are wood cavers, for example. They are very talented, self-learned, self-taught. I don't know the term there. Doctor will help me. How do we ensure that we certify these people with their skills as to be able to get international or national recognition in their specific area of expertise? These are some of the things we are looking forward to as young people.
Yeah. Just maybe an addition to what he's saying. I think he's making a very compelling, passionate point on the recognition of prior learning, which is something that even the universities have now begun to recognize that through our mature age entry system, that if you have a 5-year or 7-year experience on certain trade, bring your experiences. But employers also need to have a logbook where they say this person has worked on this particular skill for this length of time. And once you have that log experiences on a book, you can bring them to the university. We have a way of actually looking at that and giving them credits in conjunction with NQA and probably certificate these people and help them actually to catapult them into employment or even job opportunities, you know, for young people. I think it's a quite very interesting point he's making. Yeah.
Okay, let's assess the region's progress in the past year when we are talking about areas such as education, health, service delivery, agriculture, infrastructure.
Well, I live in Rundu and one thing besides maybe evidence, without evidence and statistics, but from what you see with your eyes, you can almost say that there is quite some movement when it comes to infrastructure development. One of the things I can mention at the top of my head is water purification in Rundu, as the largest town in the region. Which are going quite very well, and it's something really commendable that there is that significant investment in that area to ease the burden of water supply for the informal settlements and other areas within the Great Rundu area. We have seen efforts and energy really around Ndiona settlement, you know, being moved towards becoming a formalized sort of village council. And those are some of the things that one really wants to hear from the governor. What exactly is happening? Can I build a house and, you know, in Ndiona and get a loan bank to build that house and those sort of things? There are quite a number of other things also that have been happening within the region. I mean, on education, again, I cannot pay blind eye to the fact that we continue as a region to top the nation when it comes to the grade 11 results. For example, we retain that spot of number 1. And you want to hear what more efforts should the governor perhaps put in place, not the governor actually, many other education players within the region can actually bring on to the party to ensure that we maintain that competitiveness within the region and probably even do better than what we do for grade 12s and other lower levels. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Likoro?
Yes, like the doctor said, there is movement in the region in terms of development. In Rundu specifically, if you move around, you see there's construction happening in terms of road infrastructure, the water purification, you name it. And now we are talking about the Mashari Agricultural Institute also, that side. So there is movement in the region. And for that, we really do applaud Honorable Governor and the government in general, actually, for what is happening. But still, we do acknowledge, in as much as we acknowledge the progress, we also feel there's still considerable number of work that needs to be done in enhancing development and also addressing the challenges that people, the residents of the Kavango East, are facing. One thing that I would like to point out is that in terms of road infrastructure, Rundu in itself, if we talk about agriculture, Rundu in itself does not have the capacity to actually produce agricultural goods at a larger scale. This happens in the outskirts of town. How accessible are the roads to, for example, let's say Mashare here? But now there's a third road which is really good. And then how accessible is it from here to what's this? What's this? Donga. Yeah, Donga Linena. These are some of the things. And also... somewhere in the inland. These are some of the things we need to look at. Because now when we talk about agriculture, it's a vast sector. And also, one thing also is agro-processing industry. So in order for us to create value for our local people, I think that is one thing we need to look at also. And then simply just investment in agriculture in a sense that our people are able to self-rely on their produce and also benefit. Because one thing we should also acknowledge is that business in itself is a pathway to alleviating unemployment. You can get a job today, but then you get work. Yes, you only employ one person to clean your yard. But if you create a business, you need an accountant, you need a secretary, you need a driver, you need what? You create a series of employments. And these people also create employment in their household. So you have like 10 to 15 people that you have employed. So I think as we look forward to this address, we would like to also hear the Honorable Governor give a stance in terms of access to funding for the young people and the general public so that they are able to establish formal businesses that are able to create employment and also eradicate poverty. Very important. Yes.
Just to add to on your question.
Okay.
I think one thing we should actually also acknowledge is the fact that we have private sector that are also party to nation building in terms of their investments. And top of your head, you can, not overlook the fact that Recon Africa, for example, has had some significant investment in the region in terms of borehole drilling, in terms of even support to education, which is not their core business, but at least they are indeed doing something. They do contribute to the road infrastructure development in a way as part of their,
corporate social.
Social responsibility sort of packages and so forth. And you also have blueberries investment that are quite significantly making an impact in the region in terms of creating job opportunities for young people. And so I think those are commendable efforts that have so far really taken place in the region, which we hope the governor would also make a clarion call, not only to those, but more private sector participation in development, because government can't do everything by itself.
True. All right, Mr. Likoro, it's a comment saying young people are the drivers of development. I know you have mentioned a few points in terms of what you would want the governor to, to touch on, but maybe you can just elaborate a little bit more on it, like how exactly would you want, what commitments would you want the governor to make specifically for young people?
Okay. Thank you so much. First thing first, what we would like to hear as young people is a clear commitment for government in terms of how are they going to address youth unemployment, for example. What are the steps in place for government in terms of youth unemployment? And then two, we would like to see a clear and also...
Mr. Likoro, I would have to stop you right there. The governor is literally making his way to the auditorium right now. He's basically already there. So let's basically just cross over to the governor's State of the Region address.
Okay.
Awesome.
In our council meeting today, we have only few agenda points, but we have only one. Therefore, we have the agendas. I hope that everyone have an agenda, those who receive, especially the councillors. Therefore, we have to look to the adaptation of the agenda. We have only a few points. Application for leave, and also official announcement, then the state of the regional address, then closure. Therefore, let me use this time that our council have made a quorum so that we can continue with the regional council meeting. Therefore, I ask the regional councillors to adopt the agenda. Yes, Honorable Augusta. Thank you, Honorable Augusta, for adopting the agenda. Then we come to the application of leave, absence. Yes, Honorable Mbangu, secondant. Thank you very much. And we have to the applications of absence that from all the councillors, we have to announce that Honorable Ansel Marungu, the Deputy Minister for Environment and Forestry, and the Councillor of Ndonga Linena is not present due to other duties assigned to him. Therefore, let me use now this opportunity to do the welcoming remarks, since we have only announced that we have only 1 point for today. State of the regional address. That will be coming after the welcoming remarks. It is with great honors and privilege to welcome you all to this August House. Today, ordinary regional council meeting is in compliance with the Article 110A, sub-article 5 and 6 of the Namibian Constitution. Sub-article 5 states that a regional governor shall attend the meeting of the regional council of the region for which he or she is the regional governor once every year, which meeting shall occur after the president and cabinet attend parliamentary in terms of Article 32, sub-article 2 thereof. As in some Article 6 indicate that during the meeting referred to in sub-article 5, the regional governor shall address the regional council on the state of the region, plain activity of the central government of the previous year in the region. Honorable Governor, honorable councillors, it is in line with the above constitutional provision that the Kavango East Regional Council invite the Honorable Governor to address not only to the resident of Kavango East region, but the nation at large. Therefore, it's good also to recognize the presence of all members who are in this council, since we invited the public. Honorable Governor, the Mayest Hompa of Hambyuka, who are present here, and the delegations, the Fumu of Hambukushu Traditional Authority, and delegations, Hompa of Diriku Arvita, Kayoka, and the delegation, the former Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable John Mutora, the Honorable Deputy Minister of Environment and Forestry, Honorable Marungu, the Worship Mayor and Deputy Mayor of Rundu Town Council, the Honorable Member of Management, Honorable Mbangu Paulus for Rundu Rural Constituency, Honorable Petrus Kashumale, Mashare Constituency, and the Honorable Member of the National Council, Honorable Augusta Katembo, Mukwe Constituency, Honorable Laurentus Mukoya, Diona Constituency, all former member of National Council and member of the Parliament, the chairperson of Rundu Town Council and Divundu Village Council, Honorable Councillor of Rundu Town and Divundu Village Council, the acting chief regional officer, and all management of Kavango Regional Council, the CEO of Rundu Town Council, Divundu Village, the Swapo Party Regional Coordinator, District Coordinator, all political party and other organizations, all director from different ministries, the regional commander of Namibian Police, the Namibian Defense Force, the correctional servers, the youth leaders, the church leaders, the Farmers Association, member of the media, and ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor and privilege as I have welcomed you. It's lined with the program which we have for a regional council, whereby you are present here to permit me now to invite the regional Governor of Kavango is Honorable Hambyuka Hamunyera to deliver a State of the Region address. Therefore, I'm inviting the regional governor to come and address us. I thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We may be seated. Chairperson of the Regional Council, Honorable Stephanos Sinonge, Your Worship Mayor of Rundu Town, Honorable Andreas Jikirwa, Honorable Ansel Marungu, Deputy Minister of Environment, Forestry and Tourism and Councillor for Ndongarinena Constituency, Chairperson of Rundu Town Council Management Committee, Honorable Joseph Kamakende, Chairperson of the Vundu Village Council Management Committee, Honorable Vincel Kana, Honorable Regional and Local Authority Councillors, Honorable Traditional Authority, Wahompa wetu nomdiro detu, wakudimburura hompa gwagiriku, na moneka wakarelipo hompa wosirongo setu hompa gwasambiu, wakarelipo fumu hompa hambukushu. Honorable Homa John Mutorwa, former Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Works and Transport, Chief Regional Officer Ms. Lutugela Nangura, Masa Ola Vinatanao, Chief Executive Officer of Rundu Town Council, Comrade Otilie Mushinga Shinduvi, Swapo Party Regional Coordinator, and all heads of other political parties present. The Commanding Officer of the Namibian Defense Force, Regional Commander of the Namibian Police, Commissioner Andreas Aingura, the Commissioner of Correctional Service, former members of Parliament present, all heads of line ministries, offices and agencies, development partners, captain of industry, all civil society organizations and trade unions, faith-based leaders, my dear wife, Mrs. Hambyuka, resilient and hardworking people of Kavango East region, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I rise today to deliver the State of Region Address for the 2025-2026 financial year. This is not merely a report. It is our story. It is the story of how we together have labored to transform our corner of Namibia. It is a story of challenges faced, victories won, and the road that still lies ahead. This address is rooted in the Namibian Constitution, Article 110A, which mandates us to plan, coordinate, and report on development. My address is aligned with Vision 2030, the 6th National Development Plan, the SWAPO Party Manifesto Implementation Plan, the Growth at Home Strategy, and the Economic Directive of Her Excellency Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, President of the Republic of Namibia. Most importantly, this report reflects the state of the national address delivered by Her Excellency on 8 April 2026. She reminded us that we are advancing towards realization of Vision 2030. The President called for agricultural transformation, upstream petroleum development, industrialization, and youth employment. Here in Kavango East, we have not just heard that call, we have answered. The theme for this SORA is a true reflection of our effort to expand the existing green scheme project to produce food, not only for our residents, but for the entire country as a whole. Hence our theme for this address, harnessing agriculture for resilience and inclusive food security. Honorable Chairperson, fellow Namibians, let me begin by providing a snapshot of our performance for the 2025-2026 financial year. The region received a significant financial allocation across various sectors. The Health Directorate was allocated over 260 million Namibian dollars, with approximately 106 million Namibian dollars directed to Catholic health services. The Rundu Town Council received 75 million Namibian dollars from the Ministry of Urban and Rural Development for infrastructure upgrading. The Education Directorate received over 23 million Namibian dollars for the facilities development and renovation. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Water, and Land Reform allocated 23.5 million Namibian dollars for water supply and sanitation projects. Overall, our expenditures performed has been commendable. The Health Directorate achieved 99% execution of its budget. The Rundu Town Council completed projects ranging from 80 to 100%. The Environment and Tourism Directorate achieved approximately 90% execution. These figures demonstrate our commitment to prudent financial management and effective service delivery. Honorable Chairperson, allow me now to briefly highlight our top 3 achievements during the period under review. First, we have witnessed an agricultural and industrial breakthrough. Blueberry Namibia now has 136 hectares under cultivation, representing an investment of 400 million Namibian dollars. This project has created 195 permanent jobs and 750 seasonal employment or opportunity. Furthermore, an additional 1.5 billion Namibian dollars expansion is planned over the next 7 years. The petroleum sector, Reconnaissance Energy Namibia, drilled the KW1X exploration well to a depth of 4,200 meters in November 2025, the first deep petroleum well in our region. Production testing is scheduled to commence in June 2026. Second, we have made significant strides in skills and enterprises development. COSDEC to Kurenu trained 260 youth with a 97.5% completion rate in office administration. The Ministry of Industries, Mines and Energy supported 5 macro, small and medium enterprises with equipment valued at 302,000 Namibian dollars and issued 220 MSME certificates. The Youth Directorate trained 197 young people at France Dimbare Rural Youth Skills Training Center. The Go Green Project trained 54 women in horticulture. The Namibia University of Science and Technology recorded a 55% increase in enrollment, reaching 256 students. Third, we have delivered critical infrastructures. Recon Namibia constructed over 60 kilometers of gravel road to road authority standards. Street lights were installed along the B8 trunks road at Ndiona at a cost of 1.17 million Namibian dollars. Interlock paveway was completed in Ndiona. 70 VIP toilets were constructed at 5 rural constituencies. 3 new townships were initiated at Divundu, which will deliver over 1,000 residential erven. Divundu also recorded the completion of 70 housing units by the Sheikh Dwellers Federation, with 20 more under construction and 50 units under the Build Together program. However, Honorable Chairperson, we must acknowledge the challenge that continue to hinder our progress. First, youth unemployment remains above 60%. We face critical understaffing across key institutions, with the Namibian police having 553 vacancies, the Ministry of Industries, Mines and Energy operating with inadequate human resources, and the Health Directorate experiencing staff shortage. Second, illegal natural resources used continue to threaten our environment. Our fisheries inspectors confiscated 107 monovilament nets, while forestry officials seized 2,268 timber planks. Additionally, 864 kilograms of illegal fish were confiscated. Human-wildlife conflict remains a serious concern, causing death, injuries, and extensive crop and livestock damage. Third, infrastructure's gap persists. There is no business and intellectual property authority office in Rundu, causing lengthy delay in business registration. Rural network coverage is poor, with more than 10 villages in Mashare having no connectivity. Gender Equality Division office at 6 constituencies lack internet access. A contractor abandoned the conversion of old maternity facility to ICU and dialysis unit at Rundu Intermediate Hospital. Looking ahead, our priority focus includes operationalizing the Mashare Agricultural Development Institute, completing the DR 3402 road upgrades, launching youth skills hubs in each constituency, supporting petroleum production testing, decentralization, business registration, and building a new intermediate hospital or hospitals. Dear residents of Kavango East region, allow me now to delve into performance of specific sectors of our regional economic for the financial year 2025-2026 ended. Honorable Chairperson, I now turn to the education sector, which encompasses general education, youth development, higher education, vocational training, and arts and culture, despite critical challenges. Our region performed exceptionally well in the 2025 grade 11 NSSCO examinations. I am proud to announce that Kavango East achieved position number 1 in Namibia. Position number 1 in Namibia with a score of 52.7%. This is a testament of the dedication of our learners, teachers, and education officials. In terms of infrastructure development, the region received 8 million Namibian dollars for basic education facilities, allocated to 5 projects. Each consists of 3 classrooms blocks. These projects are at Edward Mukoya Secondary School, Kambimba Combined School, Augustinus Mashika Secondary School, Pikinini Junior Primary School, and Muhopi Primary School. The procurement process is ongoing. For renovations, we had a total budget of 19.3 million Namibian dollars, which included 14.1 million Namibian dollars carried over from the previous financial year, plus 5.2 million Namibian dollars for the current year. Key renovation completed include the installation of electricity at Hompa Sophia Munjembwe Junior Primary School at a cost of 40,600 Namibian dollars and connection to the sewer line for 176,000 Namibian dollars. At Neyua Combined School, we constructed a concrete stand for 10,000 liters water tank at a cost of 112,000 Namibian dollars. In the Mashare constituency, several projects are at various stages of completion. Mabushe Combined School is receiving 4 classrooms, a library, and administrative block, a computer library, and a science library, all at around 65 to 75% execution. Neyua Secondary School hostel is 85% completion. Muroro Primary Schools, 2 classrooms are at 65% exclusion. However, the construction of ablution facility at Mungunda and Cheye Primary School is progressing slowly. Despite this achievement, we face significant challenges. We have also a shortage of 62 administrative blocks, 7 science laboratories, and computer laboratories at more than 100 schools. 11 schools lack water facilities. We lack workshops at schools offering technical subjects such as Kehem Project Secondary School and Indiana Combined School. Furthermore, 140 classrooms and 40 other educational facilities are dilapidated. There is also a critical shortage of hostels, and inland constituencies, priority hostels are needed at Kambimba, Kangongo, Shamaturu, Edward Mukoya, Augustinus Mashika, Taratara, Ndongalinena Combined School, and Ndama East Secondary School. Honorable Chairperson, our youth are our future, and we remain committed to their empowerment. The Franz Dimbare Rural Youth Skills Training Center has offered 1-year basic skills training to unemployed youth aged 15 to 35. During 2025-2026 financial year, 96 youth enrolled in January 2025, with 90 completing their training in May 2025. A further 101 youth enrolled in February 2026 and are due to complete in the next financial year. Courses offered include bricklaying, welding, plumbing, joinery, agriculture, hospitality, clothing production, and computer office administration. In entrepreneurship development, 91 youth were trained in business skills under the Namibia Youth Credit Scheme and are due to receive their funds in 2026-2027 financial year. The Skills for Girls initiative, funded by UNICEF, supported 50 vulnerable adolescent girls aged 15 to 24, equipped them with financial, digital, and life skills, as well as basic TVET and STEM exposure. The Upship program reaches 25 young social innovators. A mushroom production project was established at Franz Dimbare with 10 young people awaiting commencement of production. In further support of youth enterprises financing, the National Youth Development Fund, administered by Agribank of Namibia, received 103 applications from Kavango East region through Agribank Kavango branch. Of these, 5 applications were approved with a total loan value of 1.3 million. 1.3 million approved and 815,000 already disbursed. These NYDF-funded ventures are anticipated to create about 19 job opportunity in the region. In social empowerment, the youth-friendly clinic at Katutura collaboration with the Namibia Planned Parent Association, saved 8,843 young people with family planning, antenatal care, and sexual transmitted infection screening, and treatment. The comprehensive life skills program reached 1,580 out-of-school youth, reduced HIV infection and prevent gender-based violence. However, we face challenges. Franz Dimbare Hostel accommodates only 72 trainees, limiting our intake's capacity. There is a lack of infrastructures and equipment for short courses at youth offices, and we have an aging ministerial fleet. For 2026-2027 financial year, we plan to train 249 and finance 340 youth under the Namibian Youth Credit Scheme. Finance 3 youth enterprises enrolled, 120 youth at Franz Dimbare, and operationalize the youth mushroom and agricultural cooperative projects. The Namibia University of Science and Technology Rundu Regional Center has recorded significant growth with 256 students registered for 2026, representing a 55% increase from 159 in 2025. The center offers a wide range of undergraduate and postgraduate programs via distance and part-time learning, including public management, accounting, business management, criminal justice, and various honors and master programs. The MASNAST e-learning system is fully operational, providing flexible learning options. However, the center operates from rented land, which limited its footprint and prevented it from fully achieving its mandate. We are committed to assisting NAST in acquiring its own land to establish a permanent presence. COSDEC to Kurenu enrolled 260 trainees from 10 regions, with 92 females and 94 males from Kavango East. Higher completion rate were achieved in office administration level 2 at 97.5%, plumbing level 1 at 95%, and January level 1 at 100%. The Go Green project, funded by the Namibia Nature Foundation, trained 54 unemployed women and youth in urban horticulture and provided them with startup kits. The Social Security Commission Development Fund allocated 1.4 million Namibian dollars for a woodwork training program for 21 unemployed Namibians over 6 months. The Ruyendo Cultural Group in Bagani, Mukwe, received 8,000 Namibian dollars in support. 2 youth from Kavango East completed a 6-month gemstone cutting and polishing training in Caribbean, aligning with the growth at home strategy. We will explore opportunity to establish a local jewelry industry and provide more support for cultural groups. Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Councillors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I pointed out to you at the start that the theme for my address is harnessing agriculture for resilience and inclusive food security. Let me, therefore, turn to the critical sectors of agriculture, fisheries, water, and land reform. Honorable Chairperson, agriculture remains the backbone of our region's economics. During the reporting period, 6,593 farmers were capacitated through advisory and training services. under the Small Stock Development Program. 10 new beneficiaries from 5 rural constituencies received 21 goats each, totaling 210 goats. The Dryland Crop Production Program, with an allocation of 3 million Namibian dollars, benefited 3,544 farmers through seed and fertilizers subsidies or subsidies. Additionally, 829 farmers benefited from plowing, planting, reaping, and weeding services covering 2,015 hectares, while 17 farmers received thresher and hammer mills. The Horticulture Value Chain Development Program, with 227,000 Namibian dollars spent, benefited 106 horticulture farmers through inputs, chemicals, materials, and irrigation equipment. The Poultry Value Chain Development Scheme, with 306,000 Namibian dollars allocated, benefited 65 poultry farmers. However, we face challenges. The vehicle fleet is aging, with frequently breakdowns hindering extension services. There are unfilled vacancies for both technical and administrative staff, and funds are often disbursed late to the region. Our fisheries inspectors conducted 260 monitoring, control, and civilians missions during the reporting period. They confiscated 217 illegal fishing gear, including 107 monofilament nets and 46 unregistered nets, 68 mosquito nets, and 22 spears. Additionally, 864 kilograms of illegal fish were confiscated and donated to the communities. 13 fines were issued for illegal fishing activities. The Kamchongwa Inland Fisheries Institute produced 100,000 fingerlings, including thread spot tilapia, red breast tilapia, and African catfish, with 50,000 distributed to small-scale farmers. 12 farmers received advisory services. We participated in 7 joint border patrols with Botswana and Angola to combat illegal activities, including illegal fishing, public awareness meetings on inland fisheries. Legislations were conducted for 16 communities. The EU-funded community fisheries in Kaza project supported the gazetting of Kapinga Kamali reserved under the Hambyuka Traditional Authority. Gibbons were installed to protect the boundary wall of the new Rundu Regional Office from stormwater erosion. Challenges persist, including an aging vehicle fleet, persistent illegal fishing, slow growth of local fish species, higher fish feed cost, poorly developed fish ponds that dry out before fish reach marketable size, and inadequate maintenance of infrastructure. Honorable Chairperson, access to clean water is fundamental to human dignity and development. During the reporting period, an earth dam was constructed at Chichungwa in Ndongalinena and Rwanyachi in Mukwe. 8 boreholes were drilled in Mukwe, Ndiona, and Ndongalinena constituencies. 8 boreholes were installed in Rundurura, Mashare, Ndongalinena, Ndiona, and Mukwe constituencies. 12 toilets were constructed at Yuru village in Mashare. However, the water tanker truck is aging and unreliable, and government vehicles are frequently in the garage due to aging. The Ministry of Agriculture, Water, and Land Reform needs to procure a new water tanker and replacement fleet. In forestry, 61 timbers harvesting applications were received, with 16 farm resources assessment conducted and 10 applications approved pending environmental clearance certificate. Honorable Chairperson, as region bordering Angola and Botswana, and more so bordering other regions, now tend to international relations, cooperation, and trade take center stage for Kavango East region. The Ministry of Industries, Mines and Energy provided equipment valued at 302,000 Namibian dollar to 5 micro, small, and medium enterprises in agro-processing, garment production, and the creative industry under the Equipment Aid Scheme. A total of 220 MSME were formally registered and certified. The Kavango East Regional Liquors License Committee was trained on the administration of Liquor Act. However, we face challenges. Applications from rural constituencies for the Equipment Aid Scheme remain low. There is no Business and Intellectual Property Authority office in Rundu, causing registration delays of weeks to months. The office understaffed. We plan to intensify rural awareness campaigns for the Equipment Aid Scheme and actively lobby for a Business and Intellectual Property Authority office in Rundu. However, Honorable Chairperson, we continue to collaborate effectively with Botswana and Angola through quarterly joint patrols and awareness. Campaigns to combat cross-border crimes, including illegal fishing and timber smuggling, successfully exported to Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Ladies and gentlemen, I now turn to justice, safety, and labor relations. The Namibian police force in Kavango East has 1,324 approved posts, but only 771 are filled, leaving 553 vacancies. The highest vacancies are at the constable level with 196 vacancies. Out of 93 vehicles, 53 are grounded, severely hampering operational capacity. During reporting period, 100 newly graduated cadet constables were received. Community policing forums are active across all stations, including men and women network, youth crime forums, neighborhood watch, and church leaders against crime. Future capital projects include a modernized police regional headquarters, new police stations at Ndama, Kehemu, and Mukwe, and staff accommodation. A request for land was sent to Hambyuka Traditional Authority for police activities. Lack of basic services such as roads and street lights hampers police performances. We need increased police budget and continue stakeholder support. Fellow residents of Kavango East region, The Kavango East region has approximately 1,589 kilometers of road network, with 354 kilometers bitumen road, 527 kilometers gravel, and 702 kilometers earth-graded roads. The region has 12,107 vehicles and 13,429 drivers. The design for the rehabilitation of that's the road, TR8/2 from Mururani to Rundu is at the procurement phase with 4 million Namibian dollars allocated for 2026-2027. Designs are completed for the upgrade of DR 34725 from Ngaute to Karukuisa, Sikanduko to Ndongalinena, the TR8/2 and TR8/3 from Taranaki to Rundu, and the Rundu Way Bridge. Ongoing construction include the upgrading of DR 3417 from Andara to Shamaturu at 53% progress. Delayed by compensation issues which were resolved in April 2026. The project is expected to be completed in the 2026-2027 financial year. These 3472 from Diona to Jarajara, covering 26 kilometers, were practically completed on the 1st of June 2026. TR8/4 from Rundu to Divundu, phase 03 is at 90% progress. DR4703 from Divundu to Muhembo has phase 1A completed and phase 1B at procurement stage. The top 15 priority roads have been identified through Regional Road Master Plan revision, with DR4702 at the highest priority. Recon Namibia constructed more than 60 kilometers of gravel road to Road Authority standard, which have been formally handed over to the Road Authority and the Ministry of Works and Transport. The renovation of government flats block 1 in Rundu Eben was 100% completed, with Part A costing 871,000 Namibian dollar, Part B 910 million Namibian dollars, and electrical renovation at 179,000. The renovation of staff accommodation at the Divundu sub-office, including electrical and mechanical works, was also 100%. Completed at a total cost of 1.71 million Namibian dollars. This project created 32 new jobs, supply, delivery, and installation of LED street light along the B8 trunk road at Ndiona were completed at 1.17 million Namibian dollars. The upgrading of 110 meters of gravel road to interlocks pavement roads was completed at 873 million Namibian dollars. 70 VIP toilets were constructed at 5 rural constituencies at 1.51 million Namibian dollars. Under informed settlement upgrading construction of gravel road is 8% completed. Water and sewer networks are at 65% completed. Overhead electrical infrastructures is 100% completed. Surveying of 250 53 Erven is completed, and construction of water towers and in Ndama, South and Long to Long is 30% completed. Municipality services infrastructures upgrading in Extension 8 is 75% completed. The upgrading of Hompa Daniel Mpasi Sitentu from gravel road to bitumen standard is 100% completed at 14.2 million Namibian dollar. The upgrading of Joseph Haingura Mise Street is 100% completed at 6 million Namibian dollars. Installation of household prepaid water meters is 90% completed, and 11 million Namibian dollars, and at 11 Namibian dollars. Honorable Chairperson, for financial health of our region, I now turn to finance, social grants, and enterprises development sectors. The Division of Gender Equality and Child Welfare administers social grants to our most vulnerable citizens. As of February 2026, there were 31,303 beneficiaries under orphan and vulnerable children grants, comprising 10,145 maintenance grants, 855 foster parent grants, 233 kinship grants, 1,188 child disability grants, and 18,882 vulnerable grants. For old age and disability, there were 10,479 beneficiaries, comprising of 5,491 old age grants, 4,737 permanent disability grants, and 251 temporary disability grants. However, we face significant challenges. Staff at the 6th constituency office lack internet access, forcing them to travel long distances. For example, 190 kilometers from Divundu to Rundu to upload documents on the integrated social assistance system. There is a shortage of computers, scanners, printers, and other IT equipment. We plan to provide internet connectivity and IT equipment to all 6 constituency offices. 19 community income generating projects were implemented across all 6 constituencies, benefiting 68 community members. 7 rural development projects were funded with 654 million Namibian dollars, ranking from road clearing to poultry and welding. In Mashare constituency, the Orphan Project at Baramasoni and the Rivatero projects at Vikota are awaiting materials. Barma, Chicken, and Maguva Road debushing were completed. 8 horticulture projects were completed with support from the people of Japan. Beyond central transfers, the Office of the Governor directly invested in community-level development. During the period under review, the office received 2.7 million in financial support from central government, of which 2.2 million was strategically invested into projects that uplifted and empowered our community. The Uvungvungu Dairy Debushing Project revitalized the environment to entice investors Research cited the dairy project for agricultural growth and food security, creating 200 temporary jobs over 4 months. The Ndongalinena trenches digging project improved water management by removing water from residential area, enhancing drainage, and reducing the risk of flooding and waterborne pond disease, creating 14 temporary jobs over 2 months. Debushing at Kamnoko and the Rundu Sport Stadium, as well as North Grens Sport Field, promoted community safety, sport and recreation, creating 58 temporary jobs over 2 months. The Matumbo Ribebe Center debushing project supported this community engagement and social support hub, creating 57 temporary jobs for young people. The Office of the Governor also funded the construction of a shelter for the destituted families at Fumbe village in Mashare constituency at a cost of 52,000 Namibian dollar and invested 180,000 in water infrastructure, serving Ndama South and the community around Rabana Secondary School and Sun City, Rundu. To ensure learners have the resources to succeed, 21,431 Namibian dollars was spent on school uniforms and other essential school needs. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to Rani Group for their generous contribution of 100,000 Namibian dollars toward Treasury student funding, benefiting 17 students. During the Governor's Cup, 36,603.26 Namibian dollars were spent supporting sport activity in the region, and the office provided casket valued at 160,000 Namibian dollars, support grieving families in their time of need. Dear Chairperson and Honorable Councillors, for our regional visitors and the sustainable of our flora and fauna, I now turn to environment, forestry, and tourism. The Ministry of Environment, Forestry, and Tourism implemented several capital projects. The Mahango Core Area Boundary Fence received 2 million Namibian dollars allocation with 414,000 spent, completing 20 kilometers and creating 40 jobs. A borehole at Mahango was drilled and equipped with solar at a cost of 1.6 million Namibian dollars, creating 7 jobs. The Wildlife Protection Services station at Buffalo, with generous support from KFW, had 23 million Namibian dollars spent out of 30.6 million Namibian dollars allocation, completing 16 staff housing unit and administration building and ablution facilities, creating 17 jobs. Tourism performance was impressive. Babata National Park recorded 50,17 tourists, 50,178 tourists, generating revenue of 4.8 million Namibian dollars. Sodom National Park recorded 2,609 tourists, generating 503,000 Namibian dollars revenue. Conservancies created significant employment. Karamasan Association employed 74 staff members. Muduwa Nyangana and George Mukoya Conservancies employed 34 staff members. Kapinga Kamari Conservancy employed 12 staff members, and Joseph Mbambangandu Conservancy employed 4 staff members. Revenue generated included 70,600 Namibian dollars by Karamasan, 146,600 Namibian dollars by Muduva Nyangana, and 17,600 by Namibian dollars by George Mukoya. Human wildlife conflict management remains a priority. In Mukwe, there were 5 human deaths, 2 injuries, 158 crop damage, cases affecting 105 hectares, and 71 cattle lost. In Diona, there was 1 human death, 3 injuries, and 42 goats lost. In Mashare, there was 1 human death and 1 injury. Mitigations measures, including crocodiles enclosure at Mutwiku and Popa. Implementation of game management and utilization plans and offset payments. Climate change initiatives included green school garden projects at 6 schools and fire management practices in conservancies. In forestry protection and conservation, 97 kilometers of fire cut line were constructed to prevent failed fires. Law enforcement resulted in the confiscation of 2,268 timber planks, 16 tons of firewood, and 98 poles. 8 court cases were opened and 9 suspected arrested. The region has 5 gazetted community forests and 1 emerging area. Management committees receive training on roles and responsibility and fire management. A government nursery was established at Ndiona and orchard at Mashare Development Institute, and 1,500 trees seedlings were donated. Permanent employment created included an operator driver at Rundu forestry offices and forestry technical or technician at Mukwe forestry office. Short-term employment opportunities created totaled at 102 jobs with 22 females and 8 males. Challenges including insufficient budget allocation, lack of stakeholders' participation, and illegal harvesting of forest and resources, conflicting over land uses in gazetted areas, and delays in finalizing court cases. Honorable Chairperson, as a region committed to fairness and equity, let us examine gender equality and social welfare. As highlighted under youth development, the Skills for Girls initiatives and the youth-friendly clinic continue to empower vulnerable and adolescent girls and young people across the region. Successful women economic empowerment initiative included horticulture gardens at Mabushe, Mahahe, Katimba, and Utokota, and support to a person living with disability in Divundu. We face challenges, including frequent food poisoning, under-reporting of gender-based violence, and lack of internet IT equipment at constituency offices. Planned intervention include a one-stop gender-based violence center, mobilized child protection unit, deployment of a nurse to Big Karkuisa twice monthly, and provision of internet and IT equipment to constituency offices. Distinguished audience, our social record records, safety and security matters. For that, let me now turn to Home Affairs, immigration, safety, and security. Civil registration campaigns are ongoing to improve birth registration completeness. Joint border patrols with Botswana and Angola continue. Challenges including undocumented persons, limited border infrastructures, and identity documents backlog. We plan to deploy mobile civil registration unit and upgrade border post and continue statelessness reduction programs. Honorable Chairperson, our economy is increasingly turning digital. For that, I now turn to information and communication technology. The Ministry of Information and Communications Technology rolled out new telecom towers in Mukwe and Dongalinena, establishing a community digital hubs and expanded e-government access point. The Divundu Village Council leased land to Powercom for a new telecommunications tower, expected to significantly enhance connectivity. The Namibia University of Science and Technology, MyNAST e-learning system is fully operational. The Health Directorate installed 27 computers in all health facilities for data capturing. However, as I stated earlier, there is a complete lack of networking coverage in more than 10 villages in Mashare, including small Karkuisa, Namagadi, Big Karkuisa, Zadang, Reravanyime, Ehagero, and Shamagaigai. The Gender Equality Division has no internet access at 6 constituency offices, forcing staff to travel to Rundu. We plan to complete this Powercom tower, expand 4G coverage, provide internet to gender division constituency offices, and launch digital literacy training for youth. Ladies and gentlemen, Kavango East region, like the rest of Namibia, faces acute urbanization. For that, let me capture a few development on urban and rural development. The Divundu Village Council leased 136 hectares to Blueberries, Namibia, representing a 400 million Namibian dollars investment. 3 new townships, Divundu Extension 4, 5, and 6, have been initiated, which will deliver over 1,000 residential urban and housing delivery. The Sheikh Dwellers Federation completed 70 units with 20 more under construction, and the Build Together program constructed 50 units with land availed for additional 20 units. The Regional Council also constructed water pipelines across all 6 constituencies. NORAD completed the design for 5 major KFW-funded projects in Kaisosi, Ndama, and modern village, totaling 57.5 million Namibian dollars, which are due for tendering. Capital project completed worth 1.18 million included RMU and mini-sub fencing, installation of auto leak closure to protect the electrical equipment, and installation of Kumbi unit to minimize faults. 13 student internships were provided. Beloved residents of Kavango East region, guided by the maximum, our health is Our health is our wealth. Allow me to outline key developments in our region's health and social services over the period under review. The Health Directorate received a total budget allocation of 260 million Namibian dollars, with 106 million allocated to Catholic health services. The budget's execution stood at 99%. In terms of key program achievement, 96% of people now know their HIV status. 97% are on treatment, and 96% are virally suppressed, moving toward the 95 UNAIDS or UNAIDS target. The TB treatment success rate was 91%. The malaria fatality rates were 0.08%, indicating that earlier diagnosis and treatment are saving lives. Following detection of poliovirus type 2 in Siwa Pond in Rundu, 4 rounds of polio campaigns were conducted, achieving average coverage of 90%. In infrastructures, Mabusha new clinic is nearing completion and awaiting commissioning. Renovations Baramasoni, Ndama, Sauyema, Kaisosi, and Karapamwe clinics were completed. The security guard house at the maternity main gate was completed. Conversion of the old maternity to ICU and dialysis unit came to a standstill due to the contractor abandoning the site. The region received 1 ambulance, 1 double cab, Baki, and 1 outreach vehicle. Challenges include limited space at Rundu Intermediate Hospital due to the growing population, necessitating a new hospital, no mental hospital in the region, and an old fleet hampering services delivery, poor network and road infrastructure, frequently food poisoning, and underutilization of mobile clinic at Big Karkuisa due to shortage of nurses. Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Councillors, and fellow regional residents. Government alone cannot carry the burden of developing our region, hence the need to involve stakeholders like state-owned enterprises and key private sector partners. COSDEC Tukurenu, together with the Go Green projects and the Social Security Commission Development Fund, continue to drive skills and enterprises development in the region. As detailed under the education sector, national housing enterprises continue to facilitate housing delivery through the Sheikh Dwellers Federation and the Build Together program. As outlined under urban and rural development, Road Authority maintained the Bit 8 road in addition to the road construction and upgrading projects outlined under transport infrastructures. Mitko Rundu Abattoir employs 77 permanent and 40 fixed-term employees. The facility maintains export, halal, and meat board certification and is undergoing NSI Stage 2 audit. A water filtration system enabled the resumption of operations. Challenges include limited cattle supply, restricted market access, low carcass weight of 170 to 180 kilograms, inadequate waste disposal, and no hide storage of facilities. UNAM Rundu campus continues teachers training and research on local development with geoscience students trained by Recon Namibia. Reconstruct Energy Namibia, beyond the KW1X exploration milestone and the gravel roads highlighted earlier, maintains 36 community boreholes, produce 8 scholarship graduates, with 4 from Kavango East, and sponsored the Rundu annual trade fair. Blueberry Namibia, whose investment and job creation are highlighted among our top achievements, also drives corporate social responsibility initiatives, including community crops projects, skills training, boreholes, preschool upgrades, and solar street lights. Development Workshop Namibia is undertaking survey and construction of services in Ndama Southwest, 50% completed with over 12 million Namibian dollars invested. In collaboration with the Rundu Town Council, GIZ is undertaking planning and block survey in Ndama, south of which 50% is completed. Honorable Chairperson, national or regional development agenda cannot be easily put and categorized in sectors as I have just outlined. There are several issues that cannot be responsibility of one sector or player. For the period under review, emerging issues worth mentioning are also follows. Regional pandemic preparedness. We successfully managed to polio outbreaks. With 4 rounds of campaigns, achieved 9% coverage, while measles and malaria outbreaks were also effectively controlled. Climate resilience, drought relief food distribution was implemented. Gabions were installed at the fisheries building to prevent flood damage and earlier warning. Systems in place, we constructed 97 kilometers of fire outline to prevent wildfire, human-wildlife conflicts. This remains higher in Mashare, Mukwe, and Diona, involving elephants, hippos, crocodiles, wild dogs, and leopards, resulting in death, injuries, and crops in livestock losses. Compensation has been paid to affected communities. Digital transformation, the Powercom Tower at Divundu, NAS e-learning, and 27 computers in a health facility represent progress, but network gaps remain in Mashare for Gender Division Constituency Office. Disability inclusion. Support was provided to a person with disability in Divundu. 1,188 beneficiaries received child disability grant, and access to service is ongoing. Creative industry. The Ruyendo Cultural Group receives support. Gemstone cutting training was provided to youth, and woodcraft and thatch commercialization are being promoted. Honorable Chairperson, Kavango East region or regional development over this period under review was not without challenges. Let me now summarize the challenges that continue to hinder our progress. Poor rural road, particularly the Mungunda to Numushi road, which was approved but not implemented. and no all-weather road to more than 10 villages in Mashare. There is no network coverage in large part of the region and no internet access for gender division at 6 constituency offices. The vehicle fleet is aging across all sectors, with NAMPO having 53 grounded vehicles. A contractor abandoned the convention of old maternity to ICU and dialysis unit and Rundu Intermediate Hospital. NAS operates rented land. Progress on water towers and sewers work is low, and lack of basic service such as roads and street light hampers police performance. Youth unemployment exceeds 60%. We face critical understaffing, with NAMPO having 553 vacancies, MIME understaffed, and health staff shortage. The Mashare Green Scheme and Mitco Abattoir are underutilized. There is no Business and Intellectual Property Authority office in Rundu, causing business registration delays of weeks to months. Application from rural constituencies for equipment aid scheme remains low. Frequent food poisoning of unknown cases requires research. Human wildlife causes crops destruction, livestock losses, death and injuries, teenagers pregnant, gender-based violence, malnutrition, and child marriage persist. Illegal money fulfillment net, illegal timber, and unregistered fishing continue. Porous port borders and stateless men remains concern. Procurement delays and budget constraints affect forestry, fisheries, NAMPOL, and youth. Court cases are delayed, causing timber to lose value and fish to spoil. The mobile clinic at Big Karkuisa is underutilized due to shortage of nurses. Fellow residents, the future is fully laden with hope and promises. For that, we have identified 15 priority action for the coming financial year, 2026-2027. First, we will complete the upgrading of the DR 3402 road from Vunguvungu to Divundu by the third quarter of 2026. Second, we will operationalize the Mashare Agricultural Development Institute as a TVET center. Third, we will reduce uncollected identification document by 50% through monthly mobile clinic registration outreach. Fourth, we will launch one youth skill hub per constituency by the end of 2026, creating 6 hubs targeting 500 youth. Fifth, we will consolidate the upgrading of the Divundu Village Council to a town council by the 4th quarter of 2026. Sixth, we will complete reticulation and water services connection to the Uvunguvungu Diary by the 4th quarter of 2026. Seventh, we will spearhead the finalization of Ndiona settlement toward village council to village council status before end of 2027. Eighth, we will commence with renovation of Rundu Sports Stadium and construction of constituency basic sport facility at Mayana and Divundu at a combined cost of 20 million Namibian dollars by the 2nd quarter of 2026. Ninth, we will support RICO Namibia's production testing commencing in June 2026 and ensure local content benefits. 10th, we will actively lobby for a Business and Intellectual Property Authority, BIPA, office in Rundu to decentralize business registration with submission by the third quarter of 2026. Eleventh, will accelerate remaining Rundu Town Council projects, completing water tower and sewer networks by the fourth quarter of 2026 and finishing informal settlement project by the second quarter of 2027. 12th, we will complete the development workshop, Namibia and GIZ projects in Ndama Southwest and Ndama South by the first quarter of 2027. 13th, we will strengthening mid-core abattoir operation by restoring market access, improving livestock quality, establishing feedlots, installing a solar system, and constructing a high storage of facility. 14th, we will address gender division challenges by providing internet connectivity and IT equipment to all 6 constituency offices. 15th, we will deploy nurses to underutilized mobile clinics, including Bigi Karkuisa. Twice monthly, we invite you to hold us accountable through our established contact point and institutional channels. In partnership with the National Planning Commission, we are committed to transparent governance, not merely through this annual address, but through a public scorecard system. This will empower every resident to track our collective progress against the remaining target of the NDP 6 plan. Honorable Chairperson, as we move toward the second year of NDP 6, allow me to extend an explicit invitation to local and foreign investors to partner with us in the development of Kavango East region. In particular, for the following endless but a few specific opportunities. The expansion of blueberries Namibia with 1.5 billion Namibian dollar planned over 7 years, expanding to 250 hectares and creating 1,000 permanent jobs. The petroleum sector services and supply chain with PEL 73 entering the commercial testing phase from June 2026. The abattoir supply chain through Mitco and the livestock value chain tourism concessions in Babwata National Park, Mahango Game Reserve, and along the Kavango River. Green scheme including Mashare irrigation scheme. The Office of the Governor is also proud to announce the establishment of a new green scheme in the Mukwe constituency by Palm for Life Namibia. The restrictions of fish farming through cooperatives and the creation of school furniture manufacturing cooperatives aimed at creating sustainable livelihood, promoting local industries across the region. Gemstone cutting and jewelry production under the Growth at Home strategy. We acknowledge and thank our valued development partners for various roles and contribution to the regional growth. Berries Namibian Wealth, Reconnaissance Energy, NAM Water, NAM Power, Pukevit, Global Funds, KFW, and the Rani Group, UNICEF, UNDP, and FAO Namibia, Nature Foundation Social Security Commission, Development Fund, Agri-Bank of Namibia, through the National Youth Development Fund, NTA, Road Authority, Road Fund Administration, NORAD, and MVA, Sheikh Dwellers Federation, Development Workshop Namibia, and GIZ, China Hainan International Corporation. Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Councillors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As I conclude, I call upon all of us to unite as Team Kavango East. We must move forward together across party lines, traditional authorities, and communities. Our efforts are fully aligned with Excellency President Dr. Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwah's Directive on Economic Revival, Industrialization, Upstream Petroleum Development, and Food Security. I extend my formal thanks to all line ministries, traditional authorities, regional council staff, state-owned enterprises, private sectors, development partners, and the resilient people of Kavango East. Let us revive our regional economy through agricultural initiatives and build it with petroleum industry and skills. Where Kavango East region where? Where Kavango East region where? God bless the Republic of Namibia, and I thank you.
Well, that was the State of the Region address by Governor of Kavango East, Hamunyera Hambyuka. I'm still joined by Dr. Gavi Kaveh, Lecturer of Economics and Commerce at UNAM Swundu campus, as well as Irvin Likoro, Regional Representative of the National Youth Council in Kavango East. Let's get right into it, gentlemen. Having listened to the Governor's address, what are your immediate reactions? I'll start with you, Doctor.
It was long, but very comprehensively covering, I think, in my opinion, the giraffe issues, that's strategic issues, but also being able to go into the granular issues, small issues like even mentioning how many drivers were at what department trained, how many received what skill. So for me, in that sense, it covers a broader scope of both strategic and operational issues as an address. It's very interesting, of course, in the breakup of the address, that it touches on sectors, it touches on challenges, but also touches on way forward, which I think it's quite good in terms of creating a platform for thinking forward and rolling the challenges, turning them into opportunities, perhaps, and strength for the region.
All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Likoro?
Yes, like my colleague is saying, it was detailed. It was detailed, and it sort of like highlighted the key and pertinent matters in the region, in a sense that he was able to break it down ministry per ministry, and what is the status report, what was achieved, and what were the challenges, and what is the way forward from now on, how do we move. I feel in that way I can say it was comprehensive per se, and I am satisfied with the report itself. At least now the residents of the region have an idea of what is actually happening in what ministry, and what are the interventions put in place in ensuring that some of these challenges that were faced will be in a way mitigated. So yeah, that is my immediate reaction. I'm satisfied with the report itself.
All right. Dr. Kaveh, do you think the governor adequately addressed some of the issues and concerns facing the region?
I don't know if that question itself is appropriate for the governor. Why am I saying that? I'm thinking the governor is only a messenger for the office of the president, obviously as an appointee of the president. What he is reporting to the region is actually what the various sectors are doing. So maybe that question should be directed to, have the sectors actually done well in terms of their mandate and responsibilities to the region? So I don't know if I'm the right person to judge all that in terms of the governor's presentation. Nonetheless, I think the whole issue raises concern, as far as I'm concerned, in the area of challenges. 3 key things came out as challenges, or maybe 4. But number 1, departments and various sectors can do whatever they can do, but to the extent that they don't have network coverage, as he kept repeating over and over and over, I think that becomes a disabler. Then the second thing that really came out strongly as another disabler, which is a worrying trend across all sectors, is the shortage of transport vehicles, that the police are not able to patrol, or ambulances able to reach out where patients are, etc., etc. Extension officers are not able to reach out to the farmers. It's an issue of vehicle fleets that are not really up to scratch. And then comes the issue of unemployment. 60% young people unemployed. I think it's a serious problem. We've got to do something, and we can do better.
Right. Do you share the same sentiments?
Yes, I actually share the same sentiment. However, let's talk about the speech and what was addressed. Yes, it covered a broader perspective of what the challenges are in the region. However, some key things also were highlighted which actually needs intervention immediately. Like he's mentioning, 60% youth unemployment rate. That is a very concerning matter. And as a matter of fact, it must be declared a state of emergency, because that is an emergency. 60% is like the entire population. Everyone is unemployed. Now, and then there was a mention of youth being employed as construction workers or on the road. These are casual laborers. But what is the plan to ensure sustainable job creation? That once I get it, I'm sustained for the rest of my life or until I turn 60. I think that was not adequately addressed, and it needs perhaps to be revisited, or maybe the right officers needs to give attention to this aspect. And then there was an issue of, what is this? An issue of constructors abandoning sites. That is very critical. Who do we point the finger to? And who should hold this people accountable? Because that in itself is what does Mutumbo call it? It's treason. Because we are now fighting against government programs when you abandon a site. And who holds these people accountable, and to what extent do we hold them accountable? And that also is a serious challenge. And then there were also aspects of road infrastructure, especially in the inland, which we mentioned earlier also. And then there were issues surrounding the whole aspect of internet connectivity. In villages just close to Rundu here, they struggle with internet. And that to me is a serious concern, because even learning in itself is digital these days.
Yeah.
Yes. So how do we then talk about development when the basic essence of developmental concepts are not in play, like internet connection, not even internet network to even make a phone call. There's no network. And we have offices in these places. The councillor's office is there, which is supposed to bring development to the grassroots level. So I think in that sense, we still need to have a dialogue. We need maybe perhaps further consultation, I don't know, but urgent attention is needed to address this if we are talking about development. Because we cannot talk about green schemes, machineries and whatnot if we don't have even network in itself. Let's start from the basic things. Access to clean water. These are the things we must start addressing before we talk about mega and macro projects. Yes.
Okay. Doctor, maybe we can touch a little bit on which projects or commitments stood out for you.
I think, according to, at the end, I think I left some of the things hanging, but I think it looks like the commitment, the passionate commitment towards transforming the owner, as I mentioned earlier, towards a formalized village council, for me stands out because it has the potential, honestly, for creating employment opportunities and catapulting development in that area, in that constituency, with a potential, obviously, for youth employment. There is also a commitment towards the agriculture, the Vunguvungu agricultural project, potentially not only offering products, but also job creation for young people and business opportunities. I would love to tease out two strong issues, really, that we need to go back to the drawing board and thresh out our minds and debate it thoroughly and go deep into it, because it holds great potential. One is the issue that kept coming as a concern, infrastructure in ICT or IT connectivity or network. We know for sure in this country that Telecom Namibia is providing the infrastructure part. Other players like Paratus or MTC, etc., are service providers primarily. But it might appear that the problem of infrastructure and connectivity we are having is because we don't have enough investment in this area. We don't. And I would propose perhaps that maybe communities should also begin, it's high time, communities need to become participants in infrastructure development. In other countries, there are models where this infrastructure, as and when they are set within the localities of those communities, communities take share ownership of those infrastructure. So for every income that the infrastructure generates, the community gets a dividend. So when you bring that kind of incentive to communities, local communities have money enough actually to contribute towards the development of these things in order to speed up the process of network connectivity, which is hampering basically everybody. The other issue is the fleet of vehicles that all the sectors are complaining about. The police, the health, the agriculture, and everybody. It's an issue of vehicles not being enough. And so the reach out and extension services of government appears to be a really hamstrung sort of element. So what one would propose perhaps that there needs to be an expansion of maintenance, number one, of government vehicles in the area. I'm not sure if the local government garage is really adequate enough to deal with all the sectors in the region, big as it is. Perhaps we need more than one, because right now there is only one. The other thing perhaps that we should do is to train and turn our VCTs into maintenance hubs for these vehicles, so that the young people that are being trained in this vocational institution can be actually the ones that are looking after these vehicles and make them operational, so that the institutions are not held back on excuses of not having vehicles for transportation. So that's I think a debate of this kind needs to really take place in different times and different places, and so that we open up the opportunities for different fresh ideas on how to deal with our problems.
Okay. Mr. Likoro, I was going to ask you the same question, but maybe let's just move forward a bit, and maybe you can touch on the fact that me asking you if the concerns of young people, like we spoke about this earlier, were they addressed?
Yes, the concerns of young people were partially addressed. They were partially addressed in a sense that in the address itself, I could hear the mention of how many young people were trained by COSDEC, how many people were trained in skills development by Franz Dimbare Skills Development Center, and then some were sent for a training in Karibeb, in gemstone cutting. Yeah, quite a considerable number of them were trained, and that is a good thing, actually a good thing. But then what I did not hear is what then happens after the training. Yes, that was not pinpointed in a way, and it leaves a question mark. What happens after the training? Yes, you are trained in gemstone cutting, then what? Is there any other opportunity or platform created for you to showcase your skills that you have recently attained? Is there an opportunity for these young people, after attaining these particular skills in whatever area, for them perhaps to start a venture? Is there some sort of like mentoring, evaluation, and monitoring that is being done? I think that was not addressed. Yes, and then also I feel like, okay, some things were addressed, yes, in a sense that I could hear there are talks of operationalizing the Mashare Agricultural Development Institute. That is a very great move that guarantees youth employment in that particular constituency and also the region at large. And then the transitioning of the Divundu Village Council into a fully fledged town by the end of 2027, I heard. That is a very good move, because then that means more investment will be channeled not only in Rundu, but also in Divundu. And in that sense, more employment will be created, and a lot of young people that have skills and virtues are able to actually put their skills on display. That was adequately addressed. But also, still, more work needs to be done. 60% youth unemployment is not a joke. It's not a joke. More work needs to be done. And like I mentioned earlier, we need to create a sustainable job security for the young people. Rundu UNAM campus, for example, we are doing a very great job in training teachers, nurses, you name it. But then, where are these people going after graduation? They are going in the streets. Let's look at these aspects. In my opinion, just adding on what the doc have said, I would have it that there must be a collaboration between ministries. Ministry of Basic Education, you give us your quotas. How many teachers do you need in this year? Then you say, no, UNAM, we need this amount of teachers in the academic year 2030, for example. And then you know if they start education now, by the year 2030 they graduate. You understand? There must be that projection. Then UNAM also must be guided as to how many educators they must train, how many... We must be guided by demand and supply. Because now what's happening is that there's an oversupply of graduates, which the system cannot absorb at the moment. That is in education. And then so should it be in other sectors as well. That is my submission.
Two things, if you may allow me.
Yes, before we wrap up, yes.
Yes. Honestly speaking, just following up on what he's saying, the issue of youth unemployment, which is 60%, I mean, that's very alarming. To be honest, I can't understate it any better. At the end, when you listen carefully to the governor, he is talking of creating an opportunity or a platform where the region can have an investment conference or workshop or something, where we need to have an investment round table of investors coming to Kavango East region to explore low-hanging fruits where investment can take place. And I think that is very, very, very important, because employment can only tick if the economy is growing. The economy can only grow if there is industrialization and there are industrial activities taking place. And so a conference like that, for me, will make a great difference in terms of job creation in the region. Then the other issue also coupled with that I heard him mentioning, is that with the Youth Development Fund, there were 185 applicants from the region, and only 5 got funding. That's a drop in an ocean. And it raises the question, where is the problem? Because the money is still there, I believe. But the success rate of those applications, it's something that the bank, which is disbursing this fund, the applicants, the regional office, and the training institutions like the University of Namibia and NAST and others should actually form a consortium to say, let's maybe help these young applicants to firm up their project proposals or business plans to a bankable state, such that when it reaches that bankable, enticing state, then it's only at that point we can take it to Agribank or another financial institution for financing. Then you actually accelerate the success rate of such applications. So there must be a vetting system. But leaving them to apply and take these projects that are not well crafted to the financial institution, you come back to the same spot where people will cry of funding is not being accessed by young people. And I think young people need to, I think the youth fraternity need to really push this agenda to get the financial institution with the training institution and the banks to form a compact of really fighting this. It's a disease. It's a disease, and I think it needs to be fought. Only collaboration will help it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today. Well, there you have it, Namibia. That was Dr. Gavi Kave, Lecturer of Economics and Commerce at UNAM's Rundu campus, as well as Irvin Lukoro, Regional Representative of the National Youth Council in Kavango, Kavango East, sharing their valuable insights on the Governor's State of the Region address. From me, Francis Shahama, and the rest of the crew, it's goodbye for now.